got to where we needed to go. You know, if you walk in a room and you're getting ready to make a decision and everybody in the room looks like you need to stop.
And right now what happens in the United States Senate is as critical as anywhere else in the country.
I really want this state to succeed.
Well, we want everybody to know that we're all working together.
I just worked hard to try to build my name where I didn't have the money.
And welcome to Politically Speaking. I'm your host, St. Louis Public Radio political correspondent Jason Rosenbaum. Joining me from her home in St. Louis, the now former state senator from Thank you so much, Senator, for joining me. This is going to be another exit interview of Politically Speaking, because I have found that talking to former lawmakers about their time in Jefferson City tends to be sometimes more interesting than talking about things when they're in office, because they can be a little bit more candid. Because you were always very close to that talk.
Oh, absolutely. You know, I can say that I can say whatever I like right now. You know, I'm done. I don't have to be politically correct anymore.
So, there are a number of things about your tenure that I think were notable. You were the first senator in this district to serve the entire 8 years since Jet Banks.
And thank God, no scandals. Wasn't planning on having scandals, but I came out of the Senate and from in the House with no political scandals, and that is sometimes very hard to do on serving in legislature.
Were you the first Muslim senator as well?
I was the first Muslim to serve in the Missouri Capitol. Rodney Hubbard, as you well know, is Muslim. T. Elamine, Yasek Elamine, all Muslim. But I was the first to serve.
The other thing, too, that I think maybe we can touch on, there's been a lot of talk about Cori Bush going from activism to elected office. That has happened, you know, in the last couple of years with Bruce Franks, John Collins Muhammad, Rasheen Aldridge. You were kind of the precursor to all that. You were an activist for many years before you ever ran. I wasn't going to say, but it does happen. I think very highly of. I just read a lot of his books. I understand. He wasn't the first play obviously wasn't either.
And I wasn't either among my party members.
But let's talk about that. How did the transition from activism to elected office go for you? Because from the outside looking in, some people may be surprised to have activist cap. They may be like, wow. It did seem like the side
Yeah. Well, let me just say this here. You know, while serving in the legislature, I knew that, you know, I had to work with some part-time. Okay. When you are active, there's no room for negotiation. Okay. You gonna let my people free, or you gonna let my people go, or we going to jail. Okay. And that's how it is on the ground. Okay. But when you up there in the legislature, I mean, if you're trying to pass legislation, and you're trying to get this done, you know, there's going to be a lot of give and take. And so, you know, I had to find that middle course, that it was not going to always be my way or no way. You can do that. You can do that. You can put the pedal to the metal when you're out on the street, and when you agitate and aggravate and advocate on the street level. You know, I mean, you can take it to the extent where you say, listen, I'm going to do civil disobedience. I'm going all the way out for the purpose of making sure that my people who I represent get their fair share when it comes to equity. On a state level, you have to be a little bit more pragmatic, okay? You have to figure out, okay, if I'm going to get this bill passed that is going to help the urban, if I'm going to put billions of dollars in the budget to help urban people, then I can't be throwing grenades, okay? if I want to be able to help
Get the
Mrs.
fuck out of here.
and the young men coming out of prison to try to find
Not
a
one of you
place
guys
in
saw that guy
society
beating
after
on me.
re-entering
Jesus
society,
Christ.
I'm going to have to figure out how I can be more diplomatic. And so that's what I was able to do. And as a result of being able to do that, I was instrumental in passing various pieces of legislation that impact the quality of life of the people that I represent in the senatorial district. I'll give you one good piece of legislation, the nuisance property legislation, where we have individuals who live out of state. They own property in the 5th senatorial district. They don't keep the property up, okay? Very hard to find. So what I was able to do was pass legislation where individual organizations, ward organizations, can go after those individuals because of a nuisance and that they're bringing their property value down. So that's the type of legislation that I've been able to pass. Harris-Stowe State University, for the first time in history, Harris-Stowe, out of 150 years, they didn't have the right to offer graduates a degree. But, you know, Jason, you know, I'm just saying that, you know, in order to be able to get things done, while you were in control of the Republican House, the Senate, and the supermajority, as well as the governor's mansion, the Republicans control everything in the state of Missouri. There is no way, you know, in a million years, I could have gone in there and stayed the way that I once were as an activist, throwing grenades, no compromise, because, I mean, it was either my way or no way when I was out there being lifted up off the railroad track for minority inclusion during the Metrolink expansion.
Well, you know, it's interesting that we started off this conversation this way, because when I first started covering Missouri politics, it seemed like the conflicts, especially in black St. Louis politics, were completely different than what they are now. Like when you ran against Robin Wright Jones in 2012, you two had pretty different views on a lot of things. It was really it really seems like it was a battle of ideas and differing perspectives. It seems that now that you're out, it's less about whenever there's a big primary or a big fight. It's less about ideas and more about personalities. That's been my observation. Have you found that too, or do you really think that there are dividing lines on issues?
Yeah, it's kind of shifting towards identity politics now, so to speak. But when I was coming up, and I ran against Robin, you know, Robin, she had the same type of issues that was concerning to her that's concerning to me. I mean, especially when it comes to the quality of life for the most indigent people here in the city of St. Louis. And I say that, you know, the difference between Robin and myself is I come from nothing. I come from the George Webb Housing Project. You know, I was able to see the indigent. I was able to see how indigent people live. You know, I was in college. So I couldn't only just sympathize, I could empathize because I lived it. You know, I was waiting on my grandmother waiting on a once-a-month check, which is probably about $300 a month. You know, to feed 4 children. You know, and so I understand that, you know, in order to be able to change a narrative and change people's lives, it starts with policy. You know, policies, they are direct correlations to what's happening in everyday people's lives. When you have young men coming out of prison.
Hey, I'm dropping that. Hang on. I don't want that.
Doors are slammed in their faces because they have a stigma of being an ex-felon. And they walk towards that door and they can't get a job.
I dropped it. Come here and get it.
That's why I have to change the
Come here and get it. I dropped it back here.
be able to say, even if you have been convicted of a felony, you should be able to write on an application without having to put a stamp of approval that you was an ex-felon and they thought it was trash can. You know, so those are policies that had to be changed. You know, and so what we're seeing happening right now is a lot of people moving towards identity politics. It's who I know, who I'm familiar with, you know, who I can align myself with. Because the same thing, the same policies we've been fighting for decades. Increases in wages, pro-choice, pro-life issues, gun rights issues, health equality. All of those issues and all of those policies have been the battleground for both Republicans and Democrats for decades. What I pride myself on was making sure that I did things on a state level that impact the people that voted me in.
Well, you know, and I think I've asked you about this before. Obviously, like raising minimum wage is like a big Democratic drawing point, as is Medicaid expansion.
It's a wedge. I call it wedge.
Now, but the interesting thing about that is both of those actually happen to be a ballot initiative, but a lot of people wanted to step on specific years in order to like help Clarence Castro or to help Nicole Gallup. They wanted them to be turnout mechanisms rather than actual policy achievements. Maybe they wanted the policy achievements with the turnout mechanisms too. Isn't that kind of a cynical way of like pursuing major policies like that? Shouldn't you want to pass a policy to pursue a policy, not just to get a half a percent more from President Castro or Nicole Galloway? Or do you think that sort of political cynicism is worth it if you end up raising the minimum wage or expanding Medicaid?
Well, I think if you can get 2 for 1, you know, there's nothing wrong with it. You know, you know, I'm a firm believer. You know, 2 is better than 1. Especially if we can get a congresswoman and a minimum wage increase, why not do it? Okay? And so, however, I don't think that if we knew that we were able to get it done in the state house, I don't think we should play politics with any ballot initiative if we know that we can get it done. But if you can't get it done, a lot of people now are moving towards ballot initiatives because it's very difficult to get anything done on the state level with the Republicans controlling the House, the Senate, and the governor's mansion, as well as the supermajority. Because again, if Democrats were in office, they would be pushing their agenda too with the supermajority.
The first time you were on Politically Speaking in 2013, you were actually the second guest. You mentioned that your biggest regret was voting for repeal campaign donations.
Yes.
But here's the thing, and I'm sorry if this comes off as an opinion, but I think it's an objective fact. They did pass campaign via ballot initiative, and everybody agrees that it passed that bill.
Listen, people say this here. I don't think it works, but I don't feel like every day I think about it, I voted for it. I don't want that in my head as a people voted for this campaign, right?
Well, you did.
But I did, and I regret it. I regret it. To this day, I always say that was a poor piece of legislation that I voted in. Okay. Now, what we had beforehand, you had individuals like a Rex Sinkfield that can have 100 committees, and there was no transparency whatsoever. Now, all you have to do is create a PAC. Okay, and you can get as much money as you want from these PACs.
It's farcical. It's farcical because you can just literally have somebody create a PAC. You could tell a Rex Sinkfeld to donate $1 million to that PAC, and that PAC could spend $1 million a day on health. I'm sorry, but Amendment 2 in 2016 was an absolute failure, and I think it's kind of showcasing the limits of doing ballot initiatives. I know we just went through this whole situation with Clean Missouri, which I know you were supporting around where, well, we got to respect the will of the people, and it basically means this idea that ballot initiatives were stacked for saying that we shouldn't change. Well, I think everybody would love to change Amendment 2 in 2016 because it's just completely ineffective.
Well, you know, I think that sometimes ballot initiatives can have unintended consequences. And we see it often on ballot initiatives. To the extent where you have to sometimes go back and fix it on the legislative level. And so sometimes, you know, ballot initiatives can have unintended consequences. But I think at the end of the day, the people voted for it. And if they want to change anything that they have voted for that are now having unintended consequences, they should take it back to the ballot and vote against it.
We'll be right back after this quick break with former Senator Jamila Nasheed.
Jamila Nasheed.
Hey, it's Jalen from the We Live Here podcast. We wanted to know how Black journalists are covering the dual pandemics of COVID-19 and racism.
More importantly to me is putting an African American face, sentiments, feelings on the pandemic. It's a huge opportunity. It's also rather challenging because, again, my job is to tell stories. I need to go beyond the statistics.
You can find this episode on Storytelling anywhere you get podcasts.
Sponsored by the Missouri Foundation for Health.
And we're back on Politically Speaking with former State Senator Jamil Nasheed. She is a Democrat from St. Louis. So I kind of want to delve into St. Louis politics because I know that from talking with you offline, you're best known as like a legislator that has been very effective at passing things and getting money for things. But you also seem to be very much enamored with St. Louis politics. And also like on a local level. Like I've had conversations with you about like the University of Board of Aldermen. It's like you've been in the Board of Aldermen for like 20 years. You know pretty much everything at that point. I now live in St. Louis County, and St. Louis County politics has become very fractious and controversial. Where do you kind of see the state of play for St. Louis politics right now? Obviously there's going to be a mayor's race coming up pretty soon. Yeah, I want to hear your opinion on that.
Well, we're about to see some drastic changes here in the St. Louis area when it comes to politics. We're about to see something that we have never seen before. It's going to be uncharted water. It's going to be new for everyone. What we're talking about is reducing the Board of Aldermen to 14. What we're talking about is redistricting, where a lot of the wards may have to merge, where you may have to see state reps running against other state reps. You may see aldermen running against other aldermen, which is going to be ugly all across the board. And then you're going to have a new mayor. You're going to have a new mayor that's trying to recover from a pandemic. So it's going to be some uncharted waters here. And so in order for, you have to be a very methodical, a thinker, and a leader in order to be able to juggle all of those balls. And you have to be one that knows how to build alliances and coalitions. And if you're not able to do that, especially as a mayor, this city will wind up looking like Detroit. And I hope that doesn't happen, and I hope that is not the case. But we need someone that is going to be able to look at all of the dynamics that's about to happen within the next 5 to 6 years, and see
Chunga coming up the stairs.
One is going to be able to juggle those balls, bring people together for the betterment of the city, so that we can have a place where they talk about working, playing, and having fun.
So let's talk about the mayor's race. By the time that this podcast airs, the mayor's race will be set. There are going to be a number of candidates under this new system where you can vote for as many people as you want. I think this is going to be fascinating because the first round of elections is going to be who can make it to the April runoff. And I do think that Louis Green is well positioned to be one of those people just because I think he has appeal both in North St. Louis and South St. Louis. I think the bigger question is whether it's going to be Tashara Jones or Kara Spencer, who's that second person. I think Tashara Jones also has that crossover appeal, but Kara Spencer's never run citywide before, so I don't know if she has that. How do you? I think that you've been a supporter of Tashara Jones, but I do want to hear kind of your breakdown of where this race goes from here.
Well, I think that the two top vote getters that will move on to the general election will be Tashara Jones and Louis Reed. Both of them are statewide office holders. Well, Tashara's a statewide.
Citywide, you mean?
Yeah. And so I think that, and they run statewide. Okay, both Tashara and Louis as president, as treasurer. So they both have name ID. Okay, they have name ID. Tashara ran before in the past. I mean, she gets a lot of earned media, even though it's negative, but her earned media is always good. Just spell her name right, okay? And so people know who she is, right? I think that the telling factor is going to be the general primary. Okay, the general primary is where all hell breaks loose. Okay, that's going to determine the next mayor. Okay, and the general primary, the general, not the primary, the general election. I meant to say the general election, so it was the general election. But in the general election,
I'm down back here.
Shara, Jones, and you're gonna have Lewis Reed. My prediction. Now, the question is this:
He's coming.
who's sophisticated to go after all of those other individuals
Retreat.
that were to try to get their people to jump on board with their candidate?
That's going to be that's a really interesting point because in the general, let's just say the whole vote for whoever you want or how many people you want doesn't take all the people to vote for one person, which is a very strong possibility. Well, the people that voted for Spencer and Jones are going to consolidate. But I think what the so-called progressives really need to be mindful of is that it's not a traditional mayor's race. It's not a situation where Lewis Reed needs to win 60% of Southwest St. Louis and he's the mayor. All he needs to do, because he has support for St. Louis, he needs to win 52%, 53% of Southwest St. Louis. And if he wins large parts of North St. Louis, that's enough. I think that he has a lot of advantages going into this race that people need to understand. But so does Tashara Jones or Spencer, too. They have advantages, too.
But look, just take a look at my race. Take a look at my race with Board of Alderman President Lewis Reed, right? Lewis, I won 13 wards, right? Lewis won 5 wards and won the election. Okay, so if those individuals in the 5 wards that he won, when he ran for president, if they come out in a way that they came out for him during the time that he was trying to hold his post at the Board of Aldermen as president, and bring in the Central Corridor,
God damn it! Don't cut in front of me. What's wrong with you?
that's a possibility that he can win. But Lewis, 60% of the people in the Board of Aldermen race voted against Lewis. Lewis won with 40% of the vote. Okay, I had 30%. Megan Green had 29 point something. Don't quote me. And Lewis had 40%. Now, if Tashara can get my vote, all of the votes that I've received, because I got over 50% in North St. Louis. She's going to have to cover over 50% of North St. Louis.
And she didn't do that, but that's the thing. She did not do that in 2017. Lewis Reed, who came in third, won a lot of North St. Louis in 2017. And this time, I don't really like using the whole establishment versus progressive label because I think it kind of really...
If someone's shooting, don't get in front of him, man.
He is going to have the establishment financial and organizational support that Cruz has. Like, clearly the fact that Jack Coder and Greg Daly are not running, that organization is going to go to Lewis Reed. And if he has a more well-organized and well-financed campaign than he did in 2017 or 2019, formidable. But I also think Tashara Jones is formidable too, because she was attacked pretty substantially last year. She won overwhelmingly. And I'm not going to just say that Kara Spencer has no chance either, because she has a lot of significant support too.
And this is what I don't want to happen in the first round, is that everybody starts beating up on each other, and then you cultivate this bad blood, and you're not sophisticated enough to get over your feelings and your egos and your emotions, and then you decide not to throw your hat behind the person that went on to the second phase. Okay, the general. You understand what I'm saying? And so sometimes if you get too muddy, in the water, it's hard to take that dirt up off of it, right? And so you want to make sure that you walk a thin line, that you don't go too far out and start attacking your opponents in the primary, where in general, because they're not sophisticated enough to build alliances, even though they've been wounded, you wind up losing some allies.
Okay, so
Grenades. Use your special weapons and your grenades.
Kara Spencer. Shouldn't you just send a bunch of mailers, say vote for Kara Spencer and Tashara Jones, and make sure we are the top 2 candidates that belong to Lewis Reed out? Or is that just not going to happen? That may be the way, like, Lewis Reed doesn't make it.
Now, I'm asking wait, so to block Louis Reed out, and then to start running against who?
Jared Spencer.
Well, y'all be thinking hard.
Antonio French wrote an article in the Post-Dispatch talking about the dangers of the proposition. And Jimmy Matthews is not going to make it tonight. But he basically brought up the scenario like, if you're a well-funded candidate and you just want to automatically win, you know, just say vote for me and Jimmy Matthews. Now, in this instance, I'm not trying to say Jared Spencer is Jimmy Matthews, but if you don't want Louis Reed to make it to the second round, and I do think that he probably will, just wire Spencer and Tashara Jones is running essentially the ticket for the first round and then, you know, fighting it out in the second round.
I think you all underestimate the voters, you know, and the electorate. We have a lot of well-educated voters here that, as they read, they go out in the snow, rain, sleet or hail. They're going to go out and they're going to vote, and they're paying attention. And you know, and they can see when individuals playing games. You know, and I don't think people will like that. You know, I don't think people would like that. There is like it's shrewd, you know, and to try to be that sophisticated and your shrewdness, I think that would turn people off.
Plus, we don't know. I don't think the average voter in St. Louis City knows that they can vote for multiple